Hello, I'm Greg Chance. I play Leonard Goldberg on District 13. My mother dressed me, I swear. This is the Inner Circle. On the Inner Circle, we're going to have the cast and crew of District 13. We're going to have interviews behind the scene, outtakes, bloopers. You'll even learn some insider information. For example, I don't really talk like that. And if you're really, really good, you get a free preview of next week's episode. Spoiler. Speaking of spoilers, this takes place after episode 5 in the universe. So if you haven't seen, if you're not caught up, go watch those. Pause me right now. I'm sure there's links somewhere around this box. You can watch them and then come back. Am I unpaused? Good. I hope you all had a nice Thanksgiving with your turkey, stuffing, cranberry sauce, candied yams, family, football. I worked all day. This being our first episode, we're going to have an interview with the creators of District 13, Dustin, Detore, and Darcie Hannigan. They are also our writers. We're going to have some of the directors of some scenes of the show, Coleton, Rivera, John, Rifici, Dustin, and Darcie, of course, and me. On our first episode here, unfortunately, I'm hosting because we couldn't get Liam Neeson. Sorry. So without any further ado, here we go. Now. All right. Now, I'm glad you stayed tuned. Thank you for listening. We now have John Rifici and Coleton Rivera.
What's his name again?
We have seen you guys on camera a little bit, but not in your main characters. Spoiler. Well, not spoiler. Talk about directing, because that's mainly what you guys have done so far, as far as episode 5.
That's a bit of a broad subject. I don't know where to really start.
Yeah,
Yeah.
At first it started off with like a scene here and there, and like doing this project specifically was one of the first things I was a part of. Like,
well, why don't you talk about like how you were approached for the show? Because at first you guys were both taken as crew before you got your characters.
Right.
So how did Dustin and Darcie approach you guys about being on District 13?
I'm curious about your story. What is your story? Because I know mine.
Mine. I mean,
Well, I hope
mine's
you know
not.
yours.
Mine's not incredibly interesting. I mean, my now fiance, she plays Celine. Yeah, thanks. She was on previous shows. It was the System, right?
Yes.
She was on the System. So she's worked with like this crew before, and I went to school with all of them, but I was like a couple grades higher, so I've only seen them like maybe a couple times, like in passing. But I kind of got tagged along through her, and then it just grew from there. Just started taking on more responsibilities, doing the camera, getting characters, just doing what I could to help out, and it's been fun.
Yeah, my story is a little bit different. John Angeloni, the guy who plays Vince Esposito, he is an acquaintance of mine. He was an acquaintance of mine. He's a good friend now. But like I was third generation don't give a shit. And then he just contacts me one day. He's like, "Hey, I got this thing going on. There's this web series or something going on, and I want you to be a part of it." And he's like, "They need help with lighting and all this stuff." And like, he puts me in contact with Dustin. I receive a Facebook message or a text message or something from Dustin, and I'm like, let's meet up so we can talk about this. He's like, let's go to Applebee's, as per usual, and then
Yeah, I skipped the Applebee's.
you skip the Applebee's phase.
That's why you're in shape.
You know.
No.
But anyway, he contacts me, and I'm like, who am I looking for? Like, I didn't know what he looked like at the time. I eventually Facebook stalked him, but that's neither here nor there. But he's like, don't worry, you won't miss me. So I'm like, cool. So I show up to Applebee's. Here comes Satan walking towards me. I'm like, all right, there's the guy. There he is. But that's how I got roped into this, and I don't regret a single moment of it. Honestly, had I not gone through with that, my life would have been probably the same.
Nice
Not
to
where I
meet
was
you.
going with that.
Yeah.
I would be completely indifferent if I was a part of this or not.
He's sleeping right
It
now.
does
That's
nothing.
something
No,
productive.
it's great.
Does
It's
nothing
great.
for me.
It's great though. No, it really is great because I just get to meet so many people and just every single time we're on set, like I think it's just universal. It's just like it's just such a good time, just like such a feel good like atmosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Have you talk about your previous film experience? You have not.
No, I mean, in high school, I took like a film study class and all that, and that was the extent of it. I always wanted to do something like film related.
Really?
Yeah, I like my only acting like credentials was freaking like school plays. I did like junior and senior one acts, and then I did the musical my senior year, and
Okay.
that was it. Aside from that, it was just like the sheer love of film and TV, and just like translate it a little easier over to doing something like this.
Really?
I had like no prior experience other than that.
I mean, you handle yourself well. I think like with filmmaking, like with directing, I guess there's just like a certain bravado you just got to bring to it. You know, there needs to be like a sternness and a softness.
Yeah, you almost have to have like a certain you have to be able to visualize like what you want to like translate to the screen.
Yeah, and that's the subjective area.
Right.
Like I'm saying, like in the more or less the objective area, you have to like be hard on people so that shit gets done, but like soft because they need to trust you. You know what I mean? Like it's a very specific personality.
I mean, like all in all, like, this is like Dustin and Darcie's like
yeah.
baby, and while they're like taking care of other matters and stuff, like they trusted us enough to kind of pass the reins off.
I don't know why.
I don't know, but they did, and no, it's been an experience.
Yeah. What was the question?
I asked you about previous film experience. I know when we first got you, you did a lot of lighting, and Studio 302, we'd never done that at all. Like, if we had light to see the actors, that was it. Like, we didn't have underlighting or extra lighting, so talk about, like, your original roles when we first got you.
Well, okay, so originally I was cast as... What was that?
Nothing.
No, come on, let me hear.
My original role was like walking past the window just to make the police station look busy. That was my first night.
And then you became director. You're like head honcho underneath the showrunner. Yeah.
Yeah. Background.
But
extra number 6.
But like I was cast as vampire number 2 pretty much, kind of like in the same general areas. I was like a villain for an episode barely, but eventually like, they're like, oh, you have lighting expertise, which at the time like I was gaffing a lot. I was doing a lot of lighting work. And I just helped out. I lit hell for I believe the second time, which like I think a lot of the people on set like agreed. Like I kind of really brought life to it. I
loved it.
Yeah, I brought a lot of character, I guess. Although it already had it, and they kind of achieved what I was going for originally, but I brought like a little bit more flavor to it, and like I just presented more ideas.
Yeah.
And that's neither here nor there. But like I was originally cast as a character who was just introduced and then killed in the same episode, and then I was brought on as gaffer, as a lighting guy, and then like I keep coming back to direct and like manage camera work and all that, this and that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the first day you were kind of here, like running around doing lights and stuff. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? Why are you doing that?
Yeah, why?
Then I see the final product. I'm like, wow, it really does make a difference.
Oh my god, dude, that is lighting and audio.
You don't realize.
You don't realize it. Yeah, exactly. Like audio, you only recognize audio unless if it's done bad. Exactly. And lighting also, like if it's just like kind of like just there, you're just like, okay, I'm into this.
It brings a scene so much more to life.
It does. It adds flavor. It really does. Yeah.
So when Dustin is in full makeup, at the very beginning he was pretty much directing for the most part. So when he's in full makeup, especially at the very beginning of his makeup when he couldn't touch anything. What was it like to have to direct where you really can't ask for backup help? You just have to make the decisions yourself.
It's challenging because you want to like breathe life into this scene that you want to put your mark on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because I believe like going through and now seeing like the 5 episodes so far, it's like you can I can remember the scenes I shot myself, but it's like I think it almost adds more character to the show when you have like multiple directors, and it's like it
yes.
gives it more variety and flavor between.
It does, but at the same time, there needs to be that universal consensus, like that nucleus.
That's
of
also
it all.
the other thing too, is that like the scenes themselves don't feel all that much different, regardless. You can kind of tell like, what's been done here, what's been done there, but it still feels like the overall show has its own.
It has its thesis, but like at its core, it's the same thing. But like I don't think an audience is going to be able to go into a scene and be like, oh, John did this one, Coleton did that one. There's Darcie and there's Dustin. You know what I mean? Like I think there's.
I direct too.
Yeah, and Greg, you piece of shit.
And Greg.
Thanks.
But like I think there's like a very like clear, concise idea of what the show is going to be and what it should be, and it's kind of difficult to like breathe your own life into that while also trying to like drive it towards this ending idea, because you can take a written scene and then just flip it on its head. You know what I mean? Like you can take a dominant and submissive character and then just like completely flip it around. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I think like the more and more we go on too, the more like everyone's vision is kind of narrowing to the same. So it's like it doesn't matter who's behind the camera.
Yeah,
it's going to come out the way it was originally intended.
Right, exactly. So. Yeah, I mean, like I think it's almost written that way, but like at the same time, like Coleton and I have, and any other director, including yourself,
thank you,
have.
Gotta give credit where credit.
Yeah, right. Have an understanding of the show and see where it's going, because we've not only like filmed the characters, but like we've kind of experienced them like in a very like surreal kind of way. Like we know who Vince Esposito is because like we've seen him in action. You know what I mean? Like we understand who these characters are on such a base level that I don't know. It's kind of surreal. Like if you really think about it, it's just this ongoing like meeting your friends type thing. It's just like meeting up again.
And going back to the original question, it's like it doesn't matter if like Dustin's in the scene or not. We've kind of like worked out this system to where you can put anybody behind the camera.
Yes.
You can like get the scene moving. He's been able to delegate like responsibilities elsewhere, so he doesn't have to focus on everything at once on top of acting.
Yeah.
So I don't think it makes much of a difference like who's in the scene, who's behind the camera. All in all, like it's come to such a certain like vision that anybody can kind of
well, you have to put in the time,
right?
I think because you have to understand where a character's headspace or like even a crew member's headspace is.
Yeah, so if you see the certain character on scene, set so many times, you kind of know how they work. You can know how to shoot them.
Yeah, there needs to be like an understanding of a person, an individual, to entirely like engulf a scene, really.
Right?
Because there's plenty of different personalities out there, and like you don't know what you're getting into. Like had we been like greenhorns or something like that, and just going into this thing, just
it would have been all over the place.
It was just exactly. Exactly. But like since we had put in like the time and like the effort, and we really like tried to, just make this thing the best that it possibly could. Like I think it's been recognized, and we've been given the opportunity to like put like our own little bit of flavor onto it, but also respect the source material and then keep it fresh and keep it going.
This has been very interesting. I like talking about other directors because I'm kind of a basic director too. I'm not one of the big ones. This has been Coleton Rivera and
John Angeloni.
John Angeloni. Forget my name.
Who am I? What are we doing here?
Leonard? Something? Nimoy? Maybe? No? Oh, Goldberg. All right. Bye-bye. All right. We have the creators of District 13 here, Dustin Detore and Darcie Hannigan. They're going to answer some questions because they have no choice. First of all, where did it start? Where did the idea for District 13 come from?
From me?
It wasn't me. I was just told the idea.
Well, it's hard to say because the idea really, really evolved from how it first started. It began during production of the system. I had gone through a lot of changes in my own life, and up until that point, I had never been about anything supernatural or paranormal or, You remember.
I've
was
known you for a
bad.
long time, yes.
The original idea was actually about a government agency. Before the show even had a name. And we were going to do cases like that. The title of the show didn't even come into it until we decided to base it in Philadelphia.
Why Philly?
Well, the easy answer is we wanted somewhere that was close that people actually would recognize. We looked at Philadelphia, and I find that it has a lot of history to it. I mean, the entire city is just, completely saturated in American history, and, the Native Americans that were there before it, and there's a lot that you can draw from for that. So it's a very old city. It's not like before we were in Walla, which was a relatively new, area, and there wasn't as much deep history rooted in it. That's something we could draw from.
What is the greatest difficulty you've had to face thus far?
Money!
Scheduling.
No, money's worse than scheduling.
I disagree.
Really?
I think I've afforded everything so far. I think that yes, it does cost a lot to run the show. At least about $7 or $8 a year to do the show, and it makes zero income. So if anybody watching wants to give us money, I mean,
There's
Feel
a link
free.
in the
Give us
comments.
money.
feel free. But scheduling, I feel like that's the bane of my existence.
But think about it. If we had money, we could hire more actors.
Yeah, but that's a lot of money.
I'm insulted.
You should really donate a lot of money.
Or Liam Neeson. So filming is pretty much a hassle, the scheduling. What about the actual, the writing? How do you, put pen to paper and give us our magic?
Well, it normally starts with, what's needed. We'll say, all right, well, let's say we need an interrogation scene. All right, that's, not terrible. So, the first thing we'll have to go over is, what are the main points that we need to hit? We're not going to say, hey, this joke could be really funny, let's write a scene around it. We're going to say, these are the main points that we need to hit.
We used to do that.
Yes, we did. I was just thinking. That's the old show.
Yeah. But we know the main points that we need to hit, and then we would decide, all right, how's it going to go point by point? If we're lucky, we decide that. And then what we started doing recently is it'll be it's literally like role-playing on the internet. It's I'll be this character, you be this character, go.
I think that role playing has been one of the strongest ways that we've written anything. We used to do it on Skype, and then we switched over to just using Google Drive and sharing the same document. And even if we do scenes of multiple characters, but honestly, we don't as much do specific role playing where you have to be this character. We kind of just the page is the scene, and we're just building it off of each other or whoever else there into making it into something special. And I think that some of our best moments have been achieved through doing that.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, we're not gonna, for example, he's Samael most of the time. Say we're in a scene where I'm Lucifer most of the time. But, if I'm typing and I'm wait a minute, I just thought of something really cool for Samael to say, I'm gonna write that. Or he thinks of something really cool for Lucifer to say. It's not this is who you are. It's just kind of let's make a cool scene. And if you think of something great, put it down. And if, as we're writing, we realize, wow, this sucks, we delete it and start over.
When writing, what would you say your biggest limitation is?
Oh, I'm good at that. My biggest limitation is writing something and then saying, that's awesome, we can't do that.
Is it because of money, sets, visual effects?
It's because of yes.
Yes.
Because of yes. It's
Okay.
because of yes.
It's yes.
I mean, there's some great action scenes that we could do if we had the resources to do so, and we've never been a show that relies on action. It's going to be the story is this minuscule thing, and we just throw a paranormal in there and we just fight stuff. That's never the spectacle of the show. The show has always come from the stories, from the lore, from the characters. So that's always where our strong point is.
Okay.
I think that my biggest limitation for myself is probably probability. I don't want to write something where just random things are happening, the rules of the universe are being broken, and it just seems so unlikely. Granted, it is a paranormal show, and there's a lot of things that, don't make any sense in the real world, but I don't want to write something where it's that guy would never do that, or if I say this, he's just going to say this back, so it's going to be a pointless exchange, or I'm out of examples, but like, you know,
Over
like
here, by the-
I think that, believe it or not, establishing the like lore in paranormal was one of the hardest and most important points of the show. And not to name any names, but I have seen shows where that just kind of goes right out the window. Where it's like you're watching one episode and it's like, this is how this works, and then like a year later, it's like, well, this is how it works now. And like it's really easy to get out of control with, especially when you're dealing with magic or other dimensional things. You know, the rule book has to be established, and that's something we've had like a series Bible since the beginning, and it's still growing. And we never write anything unless we're 100% sure these are the mechanics, and these are how they're going to work, and this is how we're going to stick to them. And I think that's what gives the show a very stable foundation to build off of, is that we have a lore established, and if we don't have it right now, we will get it before we write anything.
How often do you disagree while writing?
I don't
not
think
a lot.
that-
Really?
And even when we do it, like, it doesn't really matter, because a lot of the times I'll be like, oh, your idea's better, or we'll compromise on a better idea, or...
I think we each have an important role to bring to it, and it's like, usually before we go into something, I know, like, in advance, like, she's going to be better at this scene than me. Or the scene that might be more like my speed. Like, I have a big background with crime dramas, and a lot of the forensic techniques and a lot of the police station scenes, I'm usually really good at. That ball's like in my court. So like I'm usually like not that I'm not confident, but that I know that that's like more my speed. Then if I do a lot of the scenes in Hell are more her speed. Like she comes up with a lot. She's better has a better background in mythology and literature than I do, and I feel confident that we can work together to build a good scene, and we kind of bring each other to a center.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times when we're working a scene out, just talking, not even writing it. I'll put up a suggestion, and he'll be like, that's not really going to work because X. All right, fine. He'll suggest something, and I'll be like, but that won't work because Y. Or I'll say something, and he'll be like, more politely, but he'll be like, that's dumb.
And then next week, we will change all of it.
And it won't matter. But, yeah, so it's pretty workable.
Changes are difficult, and deleting is difficult, but they're necessary at some points.
How does a set come out of a writing? Do you guys have an idea for a location and then you write something based on that, or is it the other way around?
Generally, we have an idea what we want, and then we realize how much of it we will not be able to do. So we focus on what we can do, and if there's something we do really well in a set, we make that the focal point of the set. If there's something that we don't do that well, we push that off to the side, or we don't film in that area as much. But as long as it has the feel, I've been told that the sets that we do have a lot of character. I really enjoy. I hate building them, but I like putting the stuff in the sets.
Yeah, we have a history of he'll say I want to do this set, and I'll be like, either in my head or out loud, I'll be like, we can't do that. We can't build a train. We can't build hell. This is gonna look so ridiculous. We can't do that. And then he just does it, and I'm like, oh, okay.
I was terrified doing the throne room for the first time. We were preparing to do that, and we didn't have a throne at all. And we were like, this is the scene we're going to do it, and we're going to get a throne somehow. And then, lo and behold, Joe Bettino, his dad had owned a thrift store, and he had the chair that you see in there, and he was like, he actually thought it would be good for Lucifer's throne room, but I said that we're not actually going to be doing that this season. We don't know when, but it's actually perfect for Samael. The color scheme is perfect. Everything about it's perfect. So, the funny thing about that chair is, I have no idea how we got that through the stairwell door. We took the cushions and everything off, and it still wouldn't fit, so I literally had to lube the side of it up with Vaseline, and we shoved it through the stairwell door.
It's never coming out.
So it's never leaving.
No.
So I could never take that out. Nor would I want to. I feel like it's got its place here.
Are there any aspects of directing that you find different when it's not yours? Like what would you compare?
Well, I think everybody has their own way of doing things. I think that, even going on Fisheye, they had totally different cameras than I did. They only did one camera where we do two cameras. They had lenses. We don't have lenses, period. So that entire department was lost to me. And so you take a minute and you kind of tread carefully and see how their operation works, and then you get your footing as best you can. And, everybody wants to make a good product on a good set. And so even if someone's new or getting used to it, helping each other only helps you, because you don't want to not help someone, because then the whole project falls through and then everybody looks bad.
Same question. Answer. No.
In my experience, I have not directed anything, other than what I've written, because I'm not really a director, I'm more of a writer. But I think that what I've had to keep in mind, the most important thing is, as you're writing something, you have in your head what everybody looks like, what everybody acts like, and you just have this perfect little, you see the show in your mind. And then when you get the actors on set, you can't go up to the actor and be like, this is exactly how you have to be, and you're gonna need to dye your hair, and like all kinds of ridiculous shit. Like, you gotta be like, this is vaguely the character, go. And what they do is inevitably, unless you're Erickson on the system, thank you, Mike Prince, but
Thanks, Mike.
but what they're going to do is inevitably not what you had in your head, and you can't like Kubrick it and be like, no, you're gonna be this way or else fuck you. Sorry, Kubrick.
When you guys are creating a character, do you have an actor? Like, how do you create a character without having an actor, or do you have actors in mind before you write a scene?
You have actors.
Back in the day,
I mean, like, I know we
no,
have
I'm
our
saying
set
back in the
people.
day we used to find a friend and then give them a character.
Yes.
Nowadays, in the post-Franzian era, we have actors that are really talented and can do a lot of different things, and so we can create characters. I feel much more confident now writing a script with like a couple characters that we have no idea who's going to play them, and just we'll find them somewhere somehow.
Yeah, like you can write a character and be like, all right, who do we know that's kind of like that, like, and or isn't really like that much, but is a really good actor and can do it, and then you let them do their bit, and it's usually like, great, perfect, let's go with that.
How do you incorporate an actor into like the main, like an important role, as opposed to just a one line, one scene kind of thing?
We go to Applebee's. Our history
Really do.
is loaded with meeting actors and other
Those things.
personnel at Applebee's and discussing everything. Because you got to realize, for one thing, we do film the show mostly in South Jersey in my house, in my basement, and that's where most of our sets are. So when you're meeting a complete stranger, especially if you met them like through film.org or online, even though that I'm sure they're all fine and dandy, you're bringing them to your house. You're not bringing them to like a location or like, a studio set. You're bringing them to where you live and into your life, and you're going to see them and you're going to hang out with them, and we're a lot closer to our actors than most productions are, and especially because we're an ongoing series. We're not like a short film. It's not like here's your days. Like there's like a future is like ongoing. We're going to keep seeing you. You're going to meet a lot of other people. People are going to come and go, and so we want to make sure we do that in a neutral location, just in case. And I will say, we have never met someone where I said we can't have them.
No.
We've never had that happen. But just to be sure, and I think it's less awkward to like come to go out to Applebee's than to go to someone's house.
I think also in the inverse, we, because we film, in his house in the basement, we don't really want to, meet someone for the first time and then be like, hi, nice to meet you, let's go down to the basement. Like, we don't want anyone to think we're gonna like
Pulp Fiction.
get out there working. Yeah. Like, we're not like, we don't want to come off as like creepy, so. Pulp Fiction. Oh my God.
So, all in all, we're now five episodes out in the world. How do you feel we have been received? I mean, it was very hidden. We gave little previews, but we didn't really tell people what it was until a few months ago. How do you feel it's been received now that it's out?
Want to go first?
No, you would know about that more than me.
Okay.
We're
Well,
gonna give you the feedback.
Someone has to answer.
the first.
That's
Yes.
the rule.
Can we ask the audience?
Pass.
What do
No,
you
I'm
guys
kidding.
think?
Phone a
Actually,
friend.
I'm kidding. I can remember that on premiere night, I was terrified out of my mind because it was all this time I'd been constantly working at it that I hadn't ever taken time to step back and think about anything like that. So everyone was going to see it now, and a couple people came over to the house to watch it, and we were going to premiere it. And then I knew that my parents had a lot of friends who were waiting for this, the followers of their band and everything that have been waiting for like a year for the show to come out. So I knew there were people. I knew going in there were people that I don't even know that were going to be watching it with the intention of I really want to see this. So that was a little unnerving for me. It wasn't like with the system we had our high school following of like we were all involved in it, but this was like,
we were the fans.
Yeah, that wasn't like that anymore. And the first night we got about I want to say like 150 views or something like that. And for us, that's in the grand scheme of things, that's not a lot. But for us, that was more than like the whole system. Like that was the 150. Like and then like my computer almost froze from the notifications and stuff. And I got a lot of messages from people that I don't know that just wanted to say that they enjoyed the show and they're addicted to it. And I can't describe how well that felt. Like, that felt more than any amount of money you could ever pay me to do it. Was for not only for someone to say that they enjoyed it, but that they're addicted to it. Like that show that like your favorite show that you can't miss an episode. For that to be something that we did for someone, there's no words to describe that. That's exactly what I want.
You know what's funny is I actually receive no feedback about the show because no one tells me what they think of it. They all tell him, and he just like doesn't tell me like at all. You don't. So I'm sitting here like, people are addicted to it. Really, we're doing that well. Like, I'm like proud now. I didn't know that. That's fantastic.
I didn't know that either.
I stand by those views because I knew that they're true. Like, it wasn't. It was never spammed. I never clicked like advertise here. I never clicked like promote your account. Those are if 150 watched it, like, I believe that most of those were people that actually sat and watched the whole show and enjoyed it and everything. It wasn't like a quick, flip there. Like, I feel confident in our views.
Oh, it's a good show to watch. I've seen it. You should watch it.
How did you feel? You were there that night.
We ordered 2 large pizzas.
Too
and
many.
I had a monster.
We ordered 2 large pizzas. Too many.
Believe it or not, over the period of time, I had never actually seen the first full episode because I only get to see this is edited, and I would see bits and pieces, but there were chunks that I never got to see. So that was, I had seen 95% of it, but with all the special effects and all the editing done, I hadn't seen it all with the music. So it was nice to be like, wow, we put so much work and effort, and here it is. Alrighty then, that was fun, wasn't it, guys?
Fun.
It was my first.
Stay tuned to watch John Rifici and Coleton Rivera because I'm going to ask them more questions. No, shush.
Fucking hate you. That's a crap.
I really hope you're here with my money, Donnie. You've been behind.
I'm not giving you any money.
You're gonna bring your entire operation down. You know I can and will put an end to your little family business.
I'm not going to be threatened. Not by you and not by Mammoth. We're putting an end to this.
I would really like to tell Alex, though.
It would be very dangerous right now to include anybody but ourselves in this. Besides, are you sure you can trust her?
Her background checks out. As a matter of fact, I do. It seems like she wants to tell me something, but something's holding her back. Maybe the members are forcing her to keep quiet.
I don't know, Larry.
It seems like she's in danger.
Vince.
What? Alex? Alex, Mary?
Humans really are greedy little creatures, aren't they?
Yes, they are. You know what? I wouldn't have it any other way. Been a long time, brother.